Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Lizzie, and for today's video we are talking urban legends. I got the idea for this video partially out of a video I did talking about some of my favorite 90s horror films. Obviously I talked about Candyman and urban legends in that video, and then recently two friends of mine who run their own horror podcast called His and Her Horror did an episode on urban legends that was really fantastic. I talked a little bit about their channel in another video I recently did talking about my favorite podcasts, so make sure you check out that and make sure you check out their recent episode, especially if you love urban legends, which since you're here I'm assuming that you do. It is a really good episode. I was laughing, I was terrified because some of the stuff that they talk about is actually pretty scary, and it was just a really great episode that I highly suggest. But yeah, I wanted to go ahead and talk about some of my favorite urban legends. I'm only going to be covering 3 in this one, so gonna try to keep it semi-short, but my notes got pretty long, so I ended up just picking 3 that I really like. So if you guys want more, definitely let me know, and definitely let me know some of your favorite urban legends down in the comments below. If you are new here, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe and join our little family here. Let's go ahead and just dive into this. The first one we're going to be talking about is Bloody Mary / Candyman. So kind of a double feature. Bloody Mary and Candyman, along with other similar urban legends, are all based along the idea of repeating a name or a phrase into the mirror, and the subject of the legend will appear and basically kill you or torment you in some way. Now, the story behind Bloody Mary is not 100% confirmed as who it's based on. There are a lot of different beliefs, but basically the belief is that some woman appears and she will kill you or torture you in some way, as I mentioned. If you are interested in a deep dive into Bloody Mary, I definitely highly suggest checking out And That's Why We Drink's episode on the subject. They're another horror podcast that I am currently very much obsessed with, and they did an episode talking about Bloody Mary and all of the kind of theories behind who she is based off of, and it is a really good episode. Obviously, as far as Candyman is concerned, that there's a whole movie about it and another one coming out, which I am very excited for. So, and I'm sure there's also movies based on Bloody Mary as well. So if you have not seen the Candyman film, I definitely highly suggest that you check that one out. There are definitely people who have kind of debunked the idea of these urban legends. It's believed that because you're staring at a mirror that your mind plays tricks on you, that it can make up images, or just the fact that you're already going into it with the mindset of what's happening, that your mind tricks you into believing in what you're seeing. I personally have never played either of these games because I'm too big of a baby to try, and I don't really want to invite anything into my home or have anything bad happen to me. But if any of you have your own experiences with Bloody Mary or Candyman or any other mirror-related urban legends like these, let me know. I would love to hear your stories if any of you have been brave enough to give them a shot. So the second one I have on here is The Call is Coming from Inside the House, or The Killer is in the House. This one is obviously one that a lot of slashers are based off of, the Halloween franchise being heavily influenced by this one. And this is actually based off of a true event that happened, and this is actually an urban legend that I have talked about before on my channel. In a previous video, I talked about local crimes while I was still living in Missouri, and this one is based off the murder of Jeannette Chrisman in 1950. She was babysitting for some family friends, and that morning the family came home and unfortunately found the young girl raped and strangled in their home. The crime is still unsolved to this day, even though there was a man who was initially wrongfully executed for the crime, but it was eventually realized that he was not guilty of this. A lot of people believed that it was a family friend of Jeannette's, who a lot of people had said, you know, made some inappropriate comments about her, but of course, they didn't really deal with that in the 50s, kind of brushed it off. So there is a suspect that a lot of people believe, but unfortunately, as of right now, the crime is still unsolved. There's also no evidence that there were any calls made to her from within the home. That's just something that has been added to the urban legend throughout time. That is one thing with urban legends, is that things get added on as the years go by, and that is just one of it. But this is the story that did inspire that urban legend, of, you know, babysitter gets a call and the police trace it, and the call is coming from within inside the house. And having lived in Columbia, Missouri, where the event took place, I have heard about it, and so it is definitely just one of my favorite urban legends. There is also a documentary called Killer Legends, where they tackle legends that are based off of true events, and that is one that they cover. So if you haven't seen that, I highly suggest it. I'm pretty sure it's on Hulu, so sorry if you're outside of the US, but it may also be on Netflix depending, and it might also be on Amazon Prime. It's just all depends on where you live, but I am sure that you can find it somewhere to watch, and I highly suggest it. And the next one is the Licked Hand, or Humans Can Lick Too. I'm sure many of you have heard about this one. Usually a woman, of course, lives alone with her dog, who sleeps under the bed as comfort, and every night before going to bed, the dog licks her hand, and she comes home one night, gets ready for bed, goes through her usual routine, dog licks her hand. She wakes up the next morning to find her dog dead and a bloody message that reads, "Humans can lick too." Like I mentioned, I heard about this one at a young age. I have an older sister. We're 3 years apart, so of course I heard about scary stories from her, and this is one. There are also other versions that I've heard of this one as well. Another one that I heard that I feel like kind of goes within that same realm. Another similar version of this one that I heard is that a woman living alone by herself continues to hear a dripping noise. She wakes up, checks the faucets, dripping momentarily stops, happens again, she continues to check, and it kind of a back and forth until she decides just to go to bed and ignore it. She wakes up the next morning to hear the dripping again and find her dog hanging from her shower, and the dripping noise was the blood. That's kind of a version-ish heard of it. I guess it could be its own. That one doesn't make quite as much sense after thinking about it a little bit more in-depthly, but either way, both fucking creepy, both sad, because obviously dead animals, nobody wants that. But this one is just, it's so creepy. The idea of like someone being in your house and not like doing anything to you, but just being there, being creepy. I know that there are a lot of other versions of this one. If there's a different version that you've heard, let me know that as well. If there's any different versions of any of these that you've heard, and again, whatever your favorite ones are, let me know those. But that one just, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. And for my third pick, these are not by any means in any sort of order, but I do think this is probably my number one. This is actually a Japanese one that does have an American version as well, so I will talk about them both. I apologize if I pronounce the Japanese version wrong. I believe it's Tiki, but it's spelled T-E-K-E, T-E-K-E, and it is a Japanese urban legend about a woman who is cut in half by a train. Not sure if it's just by accident. There's, of course, different versions of these, but it's believed that she is cut in half by a train by accident. But she is turned into a vengeful spirit. We know vengeful spirits are a big thing in Japanese culture, but she spends her afterlife dragging herself around on her elbows or just by her hands and attacking people and trying to take their legs. Now, I did mention that there being an American version. There is a version that I heard at a young age, again, from my older sister. This was one that was told around the fireplace on camping trips, and I hated it. She always insisted on telling it. My parents always allowed her, and it always scared the shit out of me. But it's called Click Click Drag. Again, there's also other names for it. There's like Click Clack Drag. There's lots of different titles, but if you look up Click Click Drag, you can find information about it. But it's a very similar story. It's actually a woman who, her and her children get stuck in their car on a train track. The woman tries to get her children out, but unfortunately they are hit by the train. The two children die, and the only thing that remains of the woman that is found is her legs. Lower half, her upper half is not found, and it is believed that she goes around attacking people and cutting them off for her legs. I will try to remember to leave a link to a website that does a whole entire reading of the entire urban legend story of it. I'm not gonna restate it here. It is terrifying. Again, like I mentioned, my sister used to tell her version of it. And yeah, it's scary, and both names are based off of the sounds that the women make while dragging themselves. But yeah, those are 3 of my favorite and pretty terrifying urban legends. Like I said, if you guys want me to talk about any more, I definitely will. Let me know in the comments below. Again, let me know some of your favorites in the comments below. If there's any urban legend based films that you think I should check out. Of course, I've seen urban legends, but I hope that you guys did enjoy this. If you did, please do give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more horror and spooky related content. Before I go, a quick shout out to my Patrons. Thank you guys so much for helping to contribute to the channel. If you want to know the perks to being a Patron, there are links in the description below, along with all of my other social media, as well as I currently have a promotion going on my Patreon, where if you join $5 or up, you get a custom Carnage Candy sticker that goes until the 25th, which happens to be my birthday. So if you want to participate, information down in the description. I will see you guys again next week with another video. Bye!